Okay, Darcy's Corner. So, I was reading a post in Reddit from a person who was talking about detransitioning and why they transitioned and detransitioned, and like it was a process for them when they like went back and forth 3 or 4 times to find where they were happy at. But to be fair, when you really read the post, like they transitioned or started transitioning, and then like their family kind of bullied them, so they went back in the closet. So they didn't detransition; they just gave up because it was too hard. But then they went back into it again, and then they went back a little ways farther. And like, I get it. We should not stigmatize people who detransition. They're not doing anything wrong, and there are shades of trans. And I've often referred to it as 50 Shades of Trans because this thing is slippery, okay? And the reason I call it slippery, like, if I go just through my experience, which is the only one I really have, that's that's concrete for me anyway. Um, like when I was 4, I realized that I was a girl sometimes in my mind. So that's transgender. But I was never dysphoric about being a boy. It was just that I also wanted the things that the girls had, the makeup and the jewelry and the fancy clothes, most of the makeup and the jewelry. And I wanted to do the things the girls wanted to do sometimes. And that's what I wanted. But I didn't dislike doing the things the boys did. I didn't dislike climbing trees and building forts and catching frogs and playing with bugs and all the other little things that I did as a boy. I love those things. But I also wanted the other things too. And so I was able to indulge most of what I wanted to do as a child, as a little child anyway, because, there was plenty of toys around, and so everybody could play with the toys. And there was girl toys and boy toys and whatever. Tea sets and Barbies and Cabbage Patch Dolls and G.I. Joes and He-Mans. I had all that stuff. Or I had access to it if I didn't own it directly. So that was great. But what I'm saying is that had I transitioned as a child or as a teenager, like, I probably would have detransitioned too because of, like, there's parts of being him that I like. So maybe I don't want to be her. But sometimes I do. I don't understand. And that was what the seesaw thing that went back and forth in my mind up until I was 30 and went and looked up what the hell these thoughts meant. Like, if sometimes in your mind, if you're born male, you think, I want to put on lipstick and blush and go wear a dress and walk around the mall. If sometimes that thought occurs to your mind and you were born male, I got news for you. You're transgender. Now, I don't know what the equivalent is for people who are born female and transition the other way. But I know that it's there, right? I'm talking to a lady right now, and she's talking to me about her son who's transitioning and assigned female at birth, and they're like going through teenage things. And I'm like, well, it's not my business, but like, you should put them on hormone blockers. And they're like, oh, we don't want to do anything permanent or whatever. I'm like, well, yeah, but if you put them on hormone blockers, that stops their chest from developing, so you don't have to have that removed later. But then later, if they do want to detransition, if they do want to become him, they just stop taking the blockers and nature will take over and their chest will still develop, right? So that's like the safest way to do that. But I'm not a medical expert by any means, so talk to an actual doctor before you make medical decisions. But what I'm saying is that this transgender thing, for many of us, is slippery. That's why some of us transition and then detransition. We think this is the right thing, or we think we want to go all over here, but then we don't want all that, we find out later. It's so frustrating how it moves around on us. And I don't know why it does, but it doesn't always present as dysphoria. Lots of times it presents as euphoria. And when I hear my name, when somebody genders me correctly, it just fills me with happiness, and I don't understand why. I was at Walmart today, and I went to walk past this gentleman in the parking lot, and he had a cane, and he was at the handicap spot or whatever, and I could tell there was something wrong there, but I didn't really know what to do to help him. And he says, "Ma'am, can you get me a..." I can't call him ma'am or miss. He called me ma'am. "Can you get me a cart?" And I can't tell you how happy I was to get him a cart. I was wearing a mask, by the way. He wasn't, but I was. But I was thrilled to get him a cart because he called me ma'am. Like, he gendered me correctly. I don't know why that makes me so happy, but it does. That means this is working. That means it's not just a pipe dream. I haven't spent the last year torturing myself for nothing and upending everything in my life. No, this is going somewhere. But anyway, I'm not detransitioning. I'm moving forward with this. But other people don't move forward. They think they want to do it, and then they think they don't, and they think they do, and they think they don't, and they seesaw back and forth. And you think, oh, well, make up your mind. Man, if this was that easy, right? For some of us, and by us, I mean other transgender people, the thought comes and it just stays. And they just know, I am him or her. And that's who I am. And it's very consistent throughout their life. And for others, it's not that consistent. And the honest truth is, we don't know why. Like, the question of why are we transgender in the first place? Why does this happen? Like, there's some biological reasons. There's some psychological reasons. But really, definitively, we do not know why. We don't know how to fix this. We're just all doing our best. So if you know somebody who has transitioned and then detransitioned, don't stigmatize them for that. That's not a fault. We just all progress at different rates. Anyway, that's all I got to say on this. Talk to y'all later. Bye.